Just before I start, I'd like to say a couple of things. First, I'd like to thank Priya for the invitation for me to attend this important event. I remember that 2 years ago you were at Bangkok, IPSI at 15, and IPSI is now 17. We just had our 34th biennial workshop in Malaysia last month. And secondly, I'm presenting this IPSI story on behalf of Dr. Herminia Francisco, the director, and on behalf of the resource person, especially David Glover, who is actually the founder and the major contributor who's made IPSI what it is today. So what have we done in the 17 years that's passed? Well, IPSI has funded about 100 research studies. Most of that, about 60 studies, were in the forestry sector, about 35 in urban pollution, air and water pollution, about 30 in economy-wide issues, and about 25 in rural and agricultural pollution. In terms of the distribution of research projects by country, 25% of the 200 research projects funded were granted to Filipino environmental economists, 21 were to Vietnamese, and about 19% of the research projects were to Chinese researchers. And with the in-country training, due to the recommendation of Dr. Jeff Vincent, who was our external evaluator some years ago, we're also seeing some of the Cambodian and Lao PDR researchers doing research as well. So, like SANDEE, IPSI's mandate is to build capacity through providing research grant, and the other mandate is to provide training. So during the 17 years, we've offered about 50 training courses, and we've trained about 1,361 people, and one of that is me. The same course is offered. We offered the 3-week advanced environmental economic course. In the top picture, that was me about 10 years ago. The other activity that we've done is the in-country training activities, and mainly these in-country training activities is for academics who may have problems with language, so they don't speak English as a first language, or they may feel that they don't have sufficient competency in the field of environmental economics to make it to the regional competition. So we've organized these in-country activities. For example, here are some pictures in Vietnam and in Lao PDR, and also in Cambodia. And we've organized training sessions for teachers. These will be economists and other academic professions in the social science who have to teach environmental economics either in the university or in other high-level educational establishments. And our main purpose here is just to cover the topics that should be taught in environmental economics, and also how they should deliver those courses to the trainees. Here on the top left is one of the resource person who's been with IPSI since the beginning, Dr. David James, and here he's teaching cost-benefit analysis with one of our IPSI alumni, Dr. Canizio Predo in Hanoi, and Dr. David James has also been teaching for IPSI in Papua New Guinea. This link with justices actually started in Thailand, but it culminated in IPSI coordinating with an organization which deals with training of the justices. And we've actually provided a 3-day overview of environmental economics for members of the justices, bringing in people like Michael Hahnemann and our own resource person, Dr. Victor Adamovich. Because we're moving, we wanted to outreach the users. Apart from ASEAN, we've also organized this regional partnership joint forces with FAO, UNEP, UNDP, and more lately, we in 2008, for the first time, it was IPSI, SANDEE, and ICRAF cooperation, and we organized sort of a 10-day training course on payment for environmental services. So those are the activities that we've done. So what has been the outcome, or what has been the impact? Well, we'd like to think of the impact in terms of academic influences. I think that IPSI has more or less has contributed to initiating new courses in environmental economics. We've developed the material for the teachers to teach environmental economics, and of course there are textbooks, and we have the academic influence is also in terms of developing career career path for people like Tao Jing, who went from IPSI training and did her PhD at Harvard, people like Tui, who is doing his PhD in University of Alberta, and people like Nam, who is doing his PhD in completing his PhD in University of Gothenburg. So those are the academic influence, and also obviously in terms of publication. In the beginning, the publication were more academic style in terms of research reports and journal publications, and then we sort of laymanized those findings, and we developed what we call a practitioner series. So the findings reworded so that it's more useful for natural resource managers. And also we, just like SANDEE, we have our policy briefs because we know that policymakers don't have enough time. But these policy briefs are translated into Vietnamese, into Cambodian, into Chinese, into Lao, and into Thai language. So there are several versions of the policy brief, and we hope that those policymakers in those countries actually make use of them sometimes. In terms of dissemination of research results beyond the academe, similar to SANDEE, at the stage where we submitted the proposals, apart from the theoretical foundation, the theoretical soundness of the proposal, we'll always ask, what is the policy implication? Is it relevant to policymakers? Well, in about a year ago, when we organized this IPSI Impact Conference in Vietnam, in Hanoi, we asked the researchers just to tell us in their mind what they think, how they disseminated their research results. And this is, you know, they presented in national, international conferences. They've been invited to several national level and local task forces related to environmental economics. Most important of all was the legacy about the networks within the member countries, among the researchers in Southeast Asia and China, and also in the future, I think we would see more. We hope to see more activity being jointly undertaken. We've now had some experience with joint training with SANDEE, and hopefully with LACIP and with the African network. And so none of this wouldn't have been done without the resource person, and I see from Sarah's name we share some of the resource people, and it's very difficult to summarize 17 years of experience in 15 minutes talk, but if you have more time, please visit the IPSI website and you see that most of the things that I've talked about. So this is the IPSI team, and thank you very much for your attention.